Hey guys, Jim here. Wanted to give you a quick follow-up on my Tough Thumbs, Tough Knives, TuffTanic. So many toughs in there. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I made a couple of requests from Jeff on my particular knife because, well, basically I'm a pain in the ass. One of the things that is really essential to me is my lockup. And with Jeff doing such incredibly early lockup on these Tanics, one of the things I was worried about was developing some sort of lock issues. So I asked him to look into the possibility of doing a steel lockbar insert. Now, it was actually kind of funny because when I first asked him, he's like, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll just snap my fingers and make it happen magically." Because apparently Jeff has never done that before. And there's a lot of knife makers that still have never done it. So he says, okay, well, send the knife back. Let me take a good look at it because you see how early his lockups are. He says, let me take a good look at it. Let me see if it can be done and how much insane amount of work it's going to cause me. And this actually was a huge pain in the ass. I think Jeff has probably about 3,000 hours worth of work into my one knife. And while I was there, he did a couple of other little things, and we'll talk about that. So the steel lock bar insert is done, and done famously. He did a great job. And then he added the rock pattern on the inside there, which I like because now it's got a different feel when I'm going to reach for the lock bar. Everything he does, everything is nicely contoured and rounded. So it wasn't like it was a concern about it being sharp anyway, but it just feels even better. It feels like it has a little bit more grip in there. So a few other things changed. He did go ahead and change out my hardware. If you watched the original video, you saw I had pretty standard screws back there. So what he did was he did hardware to match my custom rock pivot. And I think it looks fantastic. It really completes the look of the knife. And it goes well with the skeletonized rock pattern back spacer that we have there. So all in all, this thing came together amazing. He did do a little bit more work on the blade for me, a little bit of extra fine refinements on the polishing, gave me more of an edge up here at the front, which really, really came together nicely. I really couldn't be happier. This knife is just sick, just wicked, super tough looking. Meant to be a tank, meant to be something that I'm carrying on a daily basis, and unique. And that's one of the beauties of this. There's not another one out there like it. Now, on that, let me just go off on a little rant here. So apparently a lot of people have been mailing Jeff and going, "Oh man, I really like Jim's Tanic. Make me one just like it. Do the frostbite treatment. Do this, do that." Guys, listen, the whole idea behind these knives is that everyone can be completely different. And so far, everyone has been. Don't just take what you see here and say, oh, replicate that. A, it shows a lack of creativity, let's be honest. And B, it takes away from the speciality of mine. I saw when Jeff did the one for Carlos for Fresno CP 1969. Listen, I'm a watch guy. That's what I do. That's my livelihood. That's my living. And had no idea Jeff could do something where he cut away the frame and installed watch gears and stuff inside. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And even when Jeff and I talked about it, when he first showed me the pictures, I said, oh man, you'd think he would have offered that to the freaking watch guy of all people. But I'm happy for Carlos that he got his, and I would never think about replicating that, even though it really ties into my livelihood and my lifestyle. That's Carlos's thing. That would take away from the speciality of the knife that he has. So I would say this. You have a blank canvas for those of you lucky enough to be getting on Jeff's list to get a Tanic. You've got a blank canvas here. The man can do pretty much anything, and he's willing to. So why settle for something that's already out there? That's going to take away from your collection as well, because there's another one or another 10 floating around that looks just like it. Do something unique, do something special. Go for the gusto, man. Just go for crazy shit. Another thing that he did on this was he made the detent a bit stronger for me, because I didn't know until I had the knife in my hands how it was going to flip. And I didn't know if it was going to be more of a push down or a rock back. And once I had received the knife, I'm like, oh, well, I should have requested the heavier detent, because I prefer rocking back on the flipper. So he made that modification for me too while he was already in there. And I could not be happier. The action is smoother, because I made yet another request to use the bearings that Jason Browse manufactures. Now that came from Jeff playing around one night with his own personal Tanic. He took his Browse Division flipper apart, took the bearings out of there, took out his needle thrust bearings out of the Tanic and swapped them around, and he went, I kind of like that a little bit more. So when he told me about it that night, I said, well, if you got another set, I'd love to try that too. He says, well, I don't. So he contacted Jason, and then I followed up and contacted Jason, and I threatened Jason's life if he didn't get a set of bearings out to him overnight. And Jason got some bearings to him, apparently. Either that, or I have Jeff's personal bearings. I don't know which. But yeah, the action is smoother. Love it all the way around. And that detent... Did you hear that? Oh, let's do that again. Nice and solid. So I am 1000% in love with my knife. Can't wait to get my second Tanic, the Epic Tanic. And we're not going to do sneak peeks on that. We're not going to release pictures before I get it in my hands, because I don't want somebody trying to copy that one too. If you guys love the look of this, I'm really glad that you do, but put your own unique spin on it. Maybe do a rock pattern and have maybe some gold coming out of it or something, or do Damascus inlays or carbon fiber. Literally, the sky is the limit on this knife. So go for it. Be different. Be unique, because I think also Jeff would like every single one of them to have a unique personality. Now, I'm not obviously going to speak for him, but I would think that every one that goes out and gets shown off and people make videos or pictures or whatnot, each and every one being different shows the amount of range that he has in his custom knife making ability. So if everyone comes out looking the same, I mean, what does that say about him? What does that say about the person that ordered it? Have that unique personality in your knife. That's why I did mine this way. My main reason was I didn't want it to be too pretty, too flashy, too showy, because this is going to be an EDC. It's going to be something that's going to get scratched up, beaten up, lots of pocket wear. I've actually been going nuts for the past week not having it in my pocket. So that's why I didn't go too pretty with this one. Now, the Epic Tanic, whenever it is that Jeff is going to have the time to do that, because that will be his most time-consuming Tanic, bar none. When we do that it's still going to get carried and it's still going to get used, but not to the same degree that this one is. So, yeah, man, think up some crazy ideas and throw them at Jeff and say, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? I think you'll be happy with the results. And I'll be happy with your results, that your knife doesn't look just like mine. Anyway, I'm going to sign off for now. I just want to kind of go over and show all the really cool stuff that Jeff did. Thank you, Jeff. I really appreciate it. You're a good friend. You made the knife an amazing knife from the get-go. By adding the extra little things, really changed it. The new hardware is amazing. It really looks incredible. Just looks fantastic. The new action is even better than it was before, which I didn't know was possible. The extra bit of polishing, the extra insane sharpening that you did for me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Steel lockbar insert is incredible. And, you didn't just get lazy and throw a steel lockbar insert and say, okay, there you go. You took the time to customize it to make it flow with the rest of the design. And that really speaks volumes to the quality of work that you do. So thank you, my friend. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Now you see that, yeah, perfection can get even more perfect. I'll talk to you guys later.